and Ken has supervised custody, with Raina being the one supervising it. She's going back and forth. Okay? The baby looks just like Dee, just like Dee.
The tea is boiling over when it comes to Gypsy Rose Blanchard's custody situation, and the latest revelations are even more shocking than before.
Just like Dee. The urn actually had been purchased and Morgan and them made arrangements, but allegedly it's still in the closet. Ken and Raina have custody in Metairie. There's a nanny that comes, and CPS is involved, and they check in.
Sources are now confirming that Gypsy's visitation rights with her child are supervised. But what's even more surprising is that Ken, her ex, is also under constant supervision when he has custody. The person reportedly overseeing him
Gypsy has visitation corresponding with parole to see the baby 2 days a week. That is why Ken was at the grocery store. He was supervising Gypsy with the baby.
None other than his own mother, Rena. This situation has raised a lot of eyebrows, especially considering that Rena doesn't even live nearby. She resides in Dallas, while Ken is in Mantua, which means she has to frequently travel back and forth just to ensure everything is in order.
To be a support to Ken, Raina. After parole, custody has to be signed off by the judge. So whoever ends up with the custody after parole, it'll be signed off then.
Influencer Nina Beauty, who has been following the custody battle closely, has revealed even more details from inside sources. It appears that neither Gypsy nor Ken have been granted full custody of their daughter, which suggests that the court does not fully trust either of them to handle parenting on their own.
That's the reason why she's been trying to make Ken look bad on the show, is because he's the one with custody. And the baby is older. I don't know by how much, but the baby is older and it does have the micro deletion.
While some insiders claim that Rena's presence is a stabilizing force, others are questioning whether this arrangement is truly sustainable. If Ken is unable to care for his daughter without his mother's constant supervision, it raises concerns about his capability as a primary caregiver.
Supervising it. She's going back and forth. Okay? The baby looks just like Dee, just like Dee. The urn actually had been purchased and Morgan and them made arrangements, but allegedly it's still in the closet.
On top of that, sources allege that Ken is not raising the child alone, even with his mother's help. A nanny is reportedly involved in the baby's daily care, leading to more speculation about Ken's ability to handle fatherhood. While hiring a nanny is not unusual, in this case, it suggests that he might not be fully equipped to take on the responsibility of raising his daughter by himself.
There's a nanny that comes, and CPS is involved, and they check in. Rod, Christy, and Gypsy have to travel to see the baby. Gypsy has visitation corresponding with parole to see the baby 2 days a week.
All right, Gypsy, I need to know.
Some argue that having extra help is normal for parents, but given the scrutiny surrounding this custody battle, it could be seen as a sign that Ken is struggling to manage his parental duties. Complicating matters even further, Child Protective Services is reportedly involved due to Gypsy's parole conditions.
Because I need to be right by the law and make sure to check in and let them know what's happening. And I need to know if Ryan's got the baby, because if we're getting a baby, I'm gonna be real upset because it keeps going back and forth and I don't know what's happening, and now I'm all confused and I need to know if I'm getting the baby. How ass? Did you give the baby back to Ryan's? No, seriously, it's got his whole ass name and everything. So you know what I'm saying? If I go up in there and then we have the baby, it's whole ass built-in families. Do I know who had the baby? Nina the beauty influencer got the baby.
Her visitation rights are extremely limited, with some reports stating she is only allowed to see her child twice a week, and even then, it depends on her compliance with parole regulations. Authorities are closely monitoring her interactions with the baby, ensuring that her past actions, including the crimes that led to her incarceration.
Let's not forget to mention that this is the same Gypsy who, she planned a whole murder. She convinced a man to kill her mother, a vulnerable man at that.
Do not negatively impact her parenting. The fact that her visitation is still so restricted shows that concerns remain about how fit she is to be a mother, despite her efforts to rebuild her life. With the custody battle unfolding in the public eye, The role of media and perception cannot be ignored.
Child raising a child. Imagine the level of manipulation when a little girl don't want to eat her veggies. I don't know. We've seen nothing to prove that this woman is ready to be a mother. I mean, let's be for real.
The reality show documenting Gypsy and Ken's situation appears to be working in her favor, portraying her as a sympathetic figure while Ken is often shown in a more negative light. Many scenes highlight moments where Ken appears distant or controlling, while Gypsy is depicted as a struggling mother trying to reclaim her place in her child's life.
I'm just saying, a goldfish maybe? Something that won't require massive therapy in 10 years? Listen, all I know is that this poor kid is about to have a very interesting childhood. And keep this baby in your prayers because we all saw what Gypsy thinks of little girls.
Some believe this narrative is carefully crafted to sway public opinion in Gypsy's favor, possibly as a strategy to strengthen her custody case. If the public starts seeing Ken as the villain, it could influence how Gypsy is perceived as a parent. In high-profile custody battles, media portrayal can sometimes play a role in shaping legal decisions.
After the hospital, but then CPS showed up because of parole. Parole had CPS show up because of her crime. The safety of the children or child is in question. They did find boxed wine and prescription pills.
Or at the very least, in influencing public pressure on the courts. However, there is also a risk that this approach could backfire. At the end of the day, the court's primary concern is the child's best interest, not how the parents are portrayed on television. Even if Gypsy's team is working to paint her in a better light,
Because the team's hot anyway. There's one more test for the microdeletion to be confirmed. Now, where they found the box wine and prescription pills were in the closet.
the final custody decision will come down to which parent can provide the most stable and secure environment. Beyond the media influence, there are legal complications that could further impact the custody arrangement. One major issue is the possibility of Ken moving away. If he were to relocate, it could not only make visitation more difficult for Gypsy, but also give him a stronger case for custody.
He does not like New Orleans, and he doesn't like Louisiana, which I would assume you coming from Dallas, you're not gonna. I can't see you liking Louisiana. Dallas is very. It's like a cross between East Coast and West Coast vibes. So for someone coming from Dallas to go to New Orleans, I just don't feel like that would be.
Courts often take into account which parent can provide a more stable living environment, and if Ken establishes himself in a new location with better circumstances, it could put Gypsy at a disadvantage. Some believe Gypsy is aware of this and is trying to keep Ken tied to her life, ensuring that he doesn't make any major moves that could jeopardize her custody claims.
New Orleans to live. And they're concerned he wants to leave the state, which means the baby would leave. I thought this. I never said this, but I did think this. Now Ken.
Adding another layer of drama, Gypsy's father has reportedly been visiting the baby, and her recent social media activity suggests she might be using these moments to shape her image. She recently posted a picture featuring herself, her father, and the baby, but suspiciously left out any mention of Ken. This has led to speculation that she is trying to craft a specific narrative, one where she appears as a responsible.
That's why the therapy is trying to find people to define, like to basically prove to Ken why he should want to marry Gypsy. Her career is slowing down, and she's mad that the baby can't be her cash cow.
Family-oriented mother with strong support. Many believe this is a strategic move meant to reinforce the idea that she has a solid network to help her raise the child, which could work in her favor during custody proceedings. The involvement of her father also raises questions about whether Gypsy is attempting to counteract claims that she is unfit to parent alone.
So this is not in court, but this is CPS order. The baby is still at Anderson. Can you imagine being Ken? Your baby's at Anderson, or your alleged baby's at Anderson, but you taking care of the baby? So real ghetto baby mama stuff.
By showcasing family support, she could be trying to send a message to the court that her child would have a stable upbringing. However, the fact that she is actively curating this image makes some wonder if she is more concerned with public perception than with the actual custody situation itself.
Made baby Aurora a cash cow to make more money because her career is slowing down as a swimmer. Allegedly, the baby looks just like Dee, a carbon copy, and the baby is...
However, recent reports suggest that things are far more complicated behind the scenes, as Child Protective Services (CPS) has stepped in to assess whether she is fit to provide a safe and stable home for her newborn daughter. While Gypsy has made it a point to present herself as a responsible and capable mother, many are questioning whether this is truly a reflection of her growth or simply an attempt to control public perception and legal narratives.
When she gave birth. And remember when Gypsy said, oh, her last name was Urker? It's not, it's under Anderson.
If her efforts are perceived as performative rather than genuine, it could ultimately work against her, casting doubt on her credibility and fitness as a parent. The concerns surrounding Gypsy's ability to parent stem largely from her past, which continues to cast a long shadow over her present. While she has gained public sympathy due to the well-documented abuse she endured under her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, it cannot be ignored that she was directly involved in the violent murder that ultimately freed her from that toxic situation.
Other Dee Anderson, the last name. And Ken does not want to marry Gypsy, as you can see in the last episode of Life After Lockup. Y'all, he is so standoffish.
Regardless of the circumstances that led to her crime, the fact remains that she played a central role in planning and executing a murder, an act that is difficult for authorities to overlook when determining whether she is capable of raising a child in a safe environment. Given her criminal history and the conditions of her parole, CPS has deemed her case particularly high risk, leading to heightened supervision and restrictions on her parental rights. Sources close to the situation claim that CHPSS has implemented stringent measures to ensure the safety of Gypsy's daughter. These restrictions reportedly include supervised visitation, limitations on her time with the child, and ongoing oversight from child welfare officials.
Be around Gypsy, and he was flirting with another girl, and this was captured on camera, the whole world to see. The only reason why Ken got back with Gypsy in the first place because she had a name out in the world and she was making money hand over fist. But now her career is slowing down, so he don't want to be here no more.
The fact that such precautions are being taken suggests that authorities do not fully trust Gypsy's ability to provide a stable home without intervention. The presence of CPS in her life is not just about monitoring her actions. It also serves as an additional layer of protection for the child, ensuring that she is not placed in a potentially dangerous situation. While Gypsy may argue that she has reformed, the reality is that her past actions will always be a factor in how she is judged as a parent, both by the legal system and by public opinion. Beyond the legal and safety concerns, the financial dynamics between Gypsy and her estranged husband, Ken, add another layer of complexity to the situation. Ken is reportedly working a variety of gig jobs, such as Uber and DoorDash, to support himself and his daughter. However, it remains unclear whether these positions provide him with the financial stability necessary to raise a child independently. In contrast, Gypsy has been leveraging her newfound fame to secure a much more substantial income through book deals, television appearances, and social media partnerships. From a financial standpoint, Gypsy appears to have a clear advantage, something that courts often take into consideration when determining custody arrangements. However, money alone is not the deciding factor in these cases.
Ken Urker is this, okay? Do you guys know a lot about different cultures? I'm gonna tell you something about a certain particular one that I know because I had a friend that's no longer my friend because of this, okay? Have you guys noticed a lot of lack?
While Gypsy's financial standing may give her an edge, her criminal record remains a major obstacle. If her past actions are brought up in court, which is almost inevitable, they could weigh heavily against her, reinforcing concerns about her ability to provide a safe and stable home. The court will likely have to balance Gypsy's financial capabilities with the very real concerns surrounding her history of criminal behavior, her parole status, and her overall stability as a parent. If she is unable to convince the judge that she is truly rehabilitated, her financial advantage may not be enough to secure custody. At the same time, Ken's own parenting abilities are under scrutiny. While he does not have a criminal record, reports suggest that he has been emotionally distant and has relied heavily on others to help care for the child. If he cannot demonstrate that he is capable of providing full-time care on his own, the court may question whether he is the better option. Although financial struggles can be a disadvantage, they are not necessarily a deal-breaker in custody cases, especially if Ken can prove that he is the more stable and responsible parent overall. Courts often prioritize the child's safety and well-being over financial wealth, meaning that Ken's ability to provide a loving and secure environment could still work in his favor despite his limited income.
Lack of excitement with Ken when it comes to other people, and he's just all about themselves. Okay, first episode, you meet Ken's dad. He seems like he's from a different culture, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. A different culture, Ken's dad. This is going to be mainly harder for the men on the men's side of culture, okay?
As the custody battle unfolds, the situation becomes even more complicated, with no clear resolution in sight. Gypsy's controversial past, financial success, and questionable decision-making make it difficult to determine whether she should be granted full custody of her daughter. At the same time, Ken's own struggles raise concerns about his ability to be the primary caregiver. If this case goes to court, it could turn into a drawn-out and emotionally charged legal battle, with both sides fighting to prove that they are the best option for their child's future. The court will ultimately have to consider a range of factors, including financial stability, emotional well-being, past behaviors, and the ability to provide a safe and secure home. There is still so much uncertainty surrounding Gypsy and Ken's custody situation, and it remains unclear which direction the case will take. Gypsy's efforts to reshape her image and convince the public that she is a changed woman may not be enough to sway the legal system, especially when her criminal past is taken into account. On the other hand, Ken's financial struggles and reported emotional distance raise their own set of concerns, making it difficult to say definitively which parent is the better choice. If the battle heads to court, it has the potential to become even messier, with both sides presenting arguments that could dramatically shift the outcome. The biggest question now is whether Gypsy can prove that she is truly fit to be a mother, or if her past will continue to haunt her in ways she never anticipated. Meanwhile, Ken must also prove that he is capable of raising their daughter on his own, despite his financial limitations. The court's decision will not only shape the future of their child, but also define Gypsy's ability to move forward and truly leave her past behind. What do you think? Should Gypsy be given the chance to prove herself as a mother, or is her past too much of a risk? Will Ken's financial struggles hold him back, or will his emotional stability give him the upper hand? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest updates on this unfolding drama.